This is a light bulb moment that I did not realize until I was like in my mid-20s or so. You will not be a different person once you achieve your goals. You won't magically turn into someone else. There are many iterations we go through in our lives, through our different experiences, through all of the chapters and all the seasons we have in our lives, but we are the same person at the end of the day. And I think a lot of times when we set goals, we think, if I do this, then I will be XYZ. Hello, I am Chelsea. I am a flutist and a mindset coach for musicians, but I think this talk today is much more human-based than music-based. I might throw some music analogies and examples and metaphors in there today, but I want to talk about how you will not become a different person once you achieve your goal. And I think that's why it's a little bit harmful to use someone else as an idol and someone else as the pinnacle of what you want to be. Now, a very literal example of this is something that I personally went through. I had a huge issue with body image, eating stuff, all of these things, which I won't go into very far in this video at all. But a lot of my mindset work stemmed from that work in my own life. And some of this was very enlightening when I was going through that. And I will give this example. When I was younger, I grew up in like a Midwestern suburb. There was like this culture of going to tanning beds, having bleach blonde hair, being really thin, very preppy, all of the Juicy Couture, all of the Vera Bradley. You get it. Now, I am just kind of naturally more pale. I, especially as a kid, and I have brown hair. Naturally, I could have dyed it, I suppose. But there's so much that I was like, if I could just be like that, then like all my problems would be solved. Then I wouldn't have to feel XYZ way. And as I was growing up, I would see these like people in pop culture. Like, I remember thinking like, my gosh, Blake Lively is like the most beautiful person I've ever seen. I just want to look like her. Now, I'm 5'3", okay? On like a good day. And Blake Lively, I think, is like 5'8" or 5'9". I don't know. She's very tall, right? She is tall. She's built differently. She has a different body type. She has blonde hair. She has a different face. Like, everything about her is different from me. But I thought that like maybe I could at some point look like that. And I was always looking outside of myself for examples of what I wanted to be like, and never picturing the result I wanted as being myself. I was always picturing it as someone else. This can go for classical musicians as well, because we're like, I just want to be blah, blah. It's like, no, when I do the thing that blah, blah did, that version is going to be me there. That's going to be me on that stage. It's not going to look like them. And if I compare anything I do to them and looking like them or being just like them, that's actually going to be kind of out of alignment and much harder to implement than if I were to say, what are the parts of this that I want for myself and why? And how can I love the way that I do it instead of looking and idolizing someone else? Now, I'm not saying that we should not take advice from experts and people who have been there and done it. Obviously, that is something we would be silly to not take advice from people who have done the thing that we want to do. But if we think that we are going to look and do the thing and look exactly like and do the thing exactly like anyone else, that's the only way we can do it, and not leaning into our own perspectives and gifts that we have, I think we do ourselves such a disservice in that regard. And I think we do it with more parts of our life than we think. For example, I'm going to use my own example for this. I did not get this fuzzy mic because it was my idea. I did not arrange my bookshelf in rainbow order because it was my idea. All of these things come from different places, but I'm able to take them and say, yeah, but no one looks like me. No one is me. No one has my voice and perspective. And if it's useful for someone, I want to be able to share it. And it's going to look exactly like me. It's not going to look like somebody else, even though I'd want it to. And What am I willing to do in order to protect this and value what I have rather than placing value on what someone else has and how someone else is, and then comparing myself to that standard, which is literally impossible because you cannot be anyone else. Okay, this is going to be a bit of a shorter video, but I want to offer a little bit of an action item for you when you visualize your goals, when you want to accomplish something, when you're picturing your future life. Picture it as you, not as some like changed version of you. I'm going to picture myself after 2 years of going to the gym as myself, not as some like Instagram fitness model, right? How am I going to look? And is that what I want? So we're not like comparing ourselves to these like unrealistic expectations of like someone who literally lives at the gym and gets paid to do that. Same thing for standing on a stage in front of people, giving a masterclass, right? You giving a masterclass is going to be different from someone else doing that. Me giving a masterclass is wildly different from how my teachers would do it, right? It's wildly different in every case. But can I own it? And can I get excited for me to express myself that way in that context? That's a really different visualization. And it's one that we can then recognize a little bit more readily as something that's much more attainable. So when you visualize into the future, picture yourself. Don't picture some sort of like fantastical fantasy reality where you're all of a sudden like Blake Lively. Because I'm not going to grow 5 inches. And I might dye my hair at some point, but I'm not going to be her. And I don't want to be, right? At this point. So, and I know that she's like kind of a hot topic discussion right now, but we won't get into that at all. And I have no comments on it. I was just referring to my past self and looking outside of myself to be someone else and thinking that once I attained a certain number of things and did a certain number of things and did something a certain way that I could somehow not be myself. And it's just never going to happen. And that's beautiful. And that's actually amazing. And it's actually a gift. But I know I didn't always see it that way. And so much of this has to do with my self-concept. And if you want a video on how to change your self-concept or just kind of what it is, I have one linked here. And I hope you have a beautiful week. I will see you next time.